Welcome back, everyone. Steve Atkinson here with the Canadian Saddle Hunter. I am honored to be joined by Austin from 3D Genesis Printing. Genesis 3D Printing. Messed that one up. Genesis 3D Printing. Um, and I think your stuff is really cool. One of the things about being a saddle hunter is most of us are gearheads and trying to fine tune our systems. And you guys just have so many
hmm
products to help us with that. Austin, will you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got the idea to start Genesis 3D printing?
Yeah, so my name's Austin Cantola. I am from the west side of Michigan, like Grand Rapids, Muskegon area. Grew up in Michigan, grew up hunting from a very young age. So my background is being outdoors and everything that I do. But from a technical side of things, I graduated from the University of Fair State with a mechanical engineering technology degree. So my background is hunting, but also like this engineering side of things of like trying to come up with something that's my mind is a little bit different than most people. So I'm trying to find solutions to problems that I have. And so like when I started Genesis 3D printing, it started from the idea that I had problems with my current gear setup in a sense. And so I sought out a solution to fix those problems. And the best way to fix them that I found was designing some things up that I could 3D print or get machined up and then actually implement them in my setup to make me more efficient, to make it cost effective, make it just easier to get to where I needed to go to get to the bucks that I was targeting or the deer that I was trying to harvest or whatever. So that's kind of the gist of it, of how I started or why I started and how my brain actually works to an extent.
Right on.
So
That's cool. And so how long have you been doing that? Like how long have you been saddle hunting and when did you start Genesis 3D printing?
okay, so saddle hunting, I started. This is going on year 4 for me. I started back in the day when we lost a lease or a property that we had permission to hunt in Missouri. So we were hunting that, and then the year that we weren't able to, we decided to pick up public land hunting down there. And a few of my family members already went down there and public land hunt before we got permission to hunt this property that we lost. And so I quickly tried to learn how to public land hunt efficiently. And hauling a tree stand on my back, a hang on tree stand was like a money vantage or something like that. And I could climb up a tree just fine, but trying to get that tree stand set up and hung was just a pain in the butt. So then I immediately like went to Google and just said how more efficient lightweight system to public land hunt or something along those lines. And this random saddle hunting form popped up, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. So I'm riding a saddle into the woods or something. I didn't know what the heck I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
But if it was anything less weight than what I was currently using, I was like, okay, this is at least try to go down this route. So it once I got into it, it just all made it clicked. It was like this makes perfect sense in my mind. So jumped right into it. 4 years later, I mean, I've used a hang on tree stand. I'm not a full fledged saddle hunter, but I do find the benefit of saddle hunting. And I mean, I'm a gear junkie because I'm an engineer at heart. So it's like I always want to fine tune my setup. So then Genesis 3D printing kind of kind of jump started off of that route of going into saddle hunting. I didn't start the business officially till last year in January. I did sell a few products before, just kind of to people through like Facebook. People message me and say, "Hey, I really like this product. Can you just send one to me and I'll pay for it or whatever?" And I was like, "Okay," because it was more I just posted it to kind of get people, I don't know, spur their brains and say, "Hey, I did this. You guys should look into doing this." So it's only been about a year and 5 months since I started this whole journey, and it's been fun. It's been a whirlwind, but it's been really cool to connect with guys. So
That's very cool. Awesome. It's neat. Yeah, it's amazing how fast things have grown in the saddle world. Where I mean, most of us are under 5 years. There's obviously a few who've been doing it longer, and then there's like the OGs like Eberhard and stuff. But most of us have been doing it
hmm
less than 5 years, and yet there's so much. I mean, even in the last year and a half, I'm sure you've seen how many like new products you've come up with, and you know the tethered one stick is totally different than the other ones, and the Shakar is a different size. It must have been a lot easier when everything was a 1-inch post. It must have been a lot easier to do stuff.
Just when one company was pretty much coming up with mobile hunting gear in a sense, like Lone Wolf was like the only one doing anything other than XOP kind of came in, but it was like you had one stop you could only go to. So yeah, it's crazy to think about it as like for the longest time the industry was so stagnant in a sense of like it was only one system, and then it just kind of exploded when saddle hunting kind of officially took off and Tethered started releasing products, and Arrow Hunter and then Trophy Line came back into it, and it was like all these companies are coming out of nowhere in the last year and a half. But it's cool. It's really, really cool to see the different products that people are coming up with, and we're all pushing each other to be more innovative too.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, a number of us kind of have an idea of what it is you make, but will you just kind of give just a brief explanation of some of your products and what they do and how they can help us to be more efficient saddle hunters or mobile hunters, whether it's like I said, carrying a tree stand in or wearing a saddle. What kind of stuff do you make?
Yeah, so the first thing I ever started making, I call them figure eighters. There's two different styles. I don't know, I look back and I think, man, these things are awesome. I still think guys praise and they love that product. What it basically does is it removes the need to have like a mechanical ascender. Just tends your hitch, moves it up for you, and just kind of relieves the force or the bind on that hitch. So it's easy to move it with one hand. You just pull your tag on your rope, and then your hitch just kind of slides up your rope to take tension or take slack out of your system on a lineman's rope or a tether. So that's probably been that's been one of the coolest ones I've come up with because it just has been consistent. I do a lot of different bow hangers. I do one that goes straight on a gear hanger that has like a pin inside it, so it swivels up and down. It has an XL version, longer, shorter, depending on if you have a wider limb system on your bow or if you just hang your quiver with your bow. I have my own gear strap, which has a total different bow hanger on it. It's just more of a bow hanger. Bow hangers for your tether. There's for like a limb, so if you have a tree limb coming off, there's like I use paracord, and I have this little 3-different piece that kind of holds your limb, and you can wrap it around of a tree, and so you can kind of position it. If you have a crazy looking limb, you can hang it in a really far off spot. So that's kind of nice for tree stand guys because sometimes they don't want their bow hanger behind them; they want it kind of in front of them. So they can find a limb, hang it off the limb, and then just be able to hold it right there. Pretty good. Other stuff for saddle hunting specifically, and I actually redesigned it for tree stand guys, is my Versa hangers. How those work is you just basically hang your climbing stick from your side on your MOLLE webbing or like a harness. So like for tree stand guys, they don't use a tree saddle, so they don't have MOLLE webbing typically. So they can use the longer version, and they can just slide their Versa button into this hook, and then it'll just slide down and lock into place. And the reason why those are nice, or why I designed them, or the feature that I put in them, is it's a tight fit. It's not a like some guys use like paracord and just kind of clip it onto their side and then climb. When you do that, the sticks kind of swing around, clang against each other. You're trying to be quiet and efficient. So these, I made them really tight. So when you slide the Versa button into them, it's really snug. So it doesn't swing around. It's going to be fixed. It's going to follow the shape of your body going up and down. It's not going to swing side to side and stuff like that. Yeah, and then somebody asked me, I went to a Total Archery Challenge in Michigan this week, and somebody asked me like, hey, how many products you got now? And I'm like, well, shoot, I don't know. I had to count them up in my head. I stopped. I couldn't think of them all. And so by the end of it, I counted like 34 different products. So I can go on and on the different products, but in the short of things, I have a one sticking gear. I have climbing stick gear, so make it more efficient as you climb, or even carrying your sticks out into the woods. And I have platform hangers, so you hang your platform off the back of your saddle. And then I have bow hangers, and then from there it's just more miscellaneous stuff and whatnot. So I think we could probably talk for like maybe 2 hours about all the things I've come up with and designed and stuff like that.
No, I think it's very cool because, like I said, efficiency is a big thing, and especially when mobile hunting, when we're literally taking everything we need to hunt up the tree and then down when we leave. Sometimes it's the little things that makes the big difference, and to keep it from swinging around, even to hold our sticks together, like the whatever model of stick you use. Some of those mules and stuff are really cool. And you just released a product recently. It's like the Stager. What's the name?
Yeah, the Strap Stager.
Strap Stager. Yeah. That was a really good idea. Tell us a little about that one, if you will.
Yeah. So that's one that we've been working on since the end of October. When we were working on it, we were trying to come up with like a solution for tree stand guys. And what I kind of mentioned it in the beginning of this podcast, I got away from tree stands because I hated trying to hang the darn thing. So it was hard to like hold your tree stand, throw your strap around, and then hold the tree stand while trying to hook the strap and then trying to get it tight. So I was trying to come up with a solution for that. And there's already stuff out there for specific brands of tree stands. And so some of them have hooks, some of them have like a ratchet strap with like a receiving bracket. So with this one, I actually came up with a solution where you have this little strap stager is what we call it. It slides right onto a cam buckle strap, and then it has a hook on the end of it. And then you can hook into the receiving part of the strap on the cam buckle side. So basically you stage your strap on the tree. You're basically hooking it on the tree, and then you're getting those loops. So the loops come out like this, and you're basically able to take those loops and just slide them over the burst button. And then you're able to do all that with two hands and not have to hold the strap and hold the tree stand. But the cool thing is it focused on tree stands, but it actually works perfect. It works well for like saddle hunting platforms and stuff like that. So the out on a limb platforms where it has the offset two buttons in a sense, it works really well for that one, because those, I don't know if you've ever hung those platforms, they're kind of a pain because the loops kind of fall off, and that's why they have castration bands on them. So like this one, there's a tension piece on the left side if you're a lefty, or it's going to be on the right hand side. But I put a tension piece on there to take slack or put slack in to account. Yeah, the strap guarantee a little bit set up your platform and a lot quieter and then just more efficient. I put a video out there because trying to explain just talking to somebody is a little bit difficult. The video seems to really help. So it's a cool product though. I've been working on it for a long time.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. Zoom kind of had a little bit of an up and down flow there, but I think we got that. Being able to, like you were saying, have that pre-stage, and a lot of us, if we have sticks, almost all of us don't use those cam buckles anymore on the sticks and straps. And I mean, I know I have a whole tub downstairs in my basement, in my hunting closet, I call it. And I've just these straps that I don't use. I rope knotted or one stick or daisy chain or whatever. But there's spots that I regularly hunt on my property or our property I have permission. And to leave a strap up there for a platform, to just have one thing less to do when I go up there, for that's something that doesn't cost me just a little bit for the stager, but I don't have to go out and buy a bunch more stuff, and to save that time and have it prepared. I think it's a really smart idea. I know I was following you on Instagram, and you had a contest for like 5 days to guess what it was, and I had no idea what it was. How many people actually guessed that correctly?
There's only 2 guys. One guy got it on the very first day, and when he got it, I was like, "How the heck did you get that?" I was just shocked. I was like, "Man, that was awesome!" And all I posted was the little 3D printed piece that routes the shock cord or bungee strap around your cam buckle strap. Yeah. And I'm like, "That's impressive." I don't know how he got it right away, but then I messaged him like 3 days into the contest. I was like, "Dude, how did you get that?" And he's like, "I don't know. I just looked at it and I was like, man, that'd be really sweet if it was this." And he guessed it and it was right. And after I messaged him, another guy guessed the same thing and got it right. So I don't know.
Kudos to you guys, because I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to think it through this stuff, and I did not pick, that. So good job, you guys.
So
Yeah.
it was a cool contest. I felt kind of bad though because I was like, man, I'm posting all these little teaser pictures, but if I were them, I would never have guessed it.
Oh, it's good. It got people thinking. Um, one of the, I mean, a lot of us saddle hunters are kind of DIY wired people, anyways, like tinkers or gear junkies, gearheads. One of the things I appreciate, and I need to get some more of your stuff actually, but it's amazing, including myself. I'm talking mostly to myself here, but I'm sure a lot of us can relate. Is that sometimes we spend, like $500 on a saddle setup between the platform and the saddle and the sticks and all that, but we try to save $5 when we, to improve our system, whether it's like the mule to keep the sticks together, or the strap stager, or a bow hanger or something like that. I don't exactly know how to rationalize it, where you're like, oh, well, that's $200 and it saves me 4 ounces on my stick, so I got to buy it. When we're still using, bungee cords and night eye. I mean, night eye ties are handy tools, but yeah, have you run into that a lot too? Because I don't know why I'm like that, but I am.
Well, it's different at first. Like, yes, I was looking at how to save money. It's hard too because my wife and I were doing like a Dave Ramsey thing, so I literally only had $5 a week that I could spend on whatever I wanted to spend on. Yep. So it was like I literally have to DIY this stuff up, or else I'm not going to be able to do any of this. But yeah, it's now that I'm in it and I'm seeing the gain of like buying the stuff that's meant for your system and making the ideal system, not like the it'll kind of work for me system, but making it so it's my system, that it works and it's going to perform how I expect it. Then it's like, okay, I'll spend a little extra money on like this product or this thing to make it more efficient for me to be in the woods or whatever. But I've seen guys exactly what you're saying, like they'll be hesitant to buy it, and then I'll see them post something that's very similar to my stuff, and I'm like, I mean, I'm at least inspiring people, I guess. I'm not upset. Like they're not taking my idea and copying it and trying to sell it. Like that's a little bit different, but they're like inspired to say, oh, I can do that. Let me see if I can figure something out. I don't know. It's kind of cool to see that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, sure. On both sides. I think it's a system. I mean, and now is a really good time of year to work on our systems. To get out there in the backyard or out in the woods and just be comfortable with how we get up in the tree and how we come down a tree and get that system ironed out. One of the things we're doing up here is we're going to be hosting some saddle hunting training camps, as it were, training days, because we're about 2 years behind you guys there in the States as far as some of the trends go. And so, as you saw, you've been, like for 18 months, it just climbed so much the last 2 years, and we're right at the edge of that here in Canada. But people wanting to try things out and to see how different things work and how different things feel. But once you find your system, just the little things like mules to hold your sticks together, or like the stager, or I was just looking on your website before we were talking, that little hook on the one stick just off to the side to hold your rope there. That's just one of those things.
Oh yeah.
It's just handy. It just makes sense. I'll be getting one of those for sure, because I mean, when your stick, it's not a big deal when your rope falls off the top of your platform on the one stick. I mean, you just have to reach down a little bit farther and grab it. But I mean, when you're spending, $250 to $350, whatever your one stick setup costs, just that little piece there to hold your rope in place, it makes it so much more efficient and easier. I like that. I really appreciate that. And I was your figure eighter, like the tender for the lineman's thing. I have one of those, and I was amazed at how well it worked. I had my rope mends, and because when I first started, trying to scooch up my my prusik with my thumb and my finger just drove me nuts. And, so I got the rope mend, and I was like, okay, I got it. Well, will actually work. I was amazed at how smooth it is. Like it just works, and I really appreciate that about your products. what is some advice that you have for people looking to find their system? Because I mean, that's, you make so many products to help people do that. What are some things people should really kind of focus in on to fine tune their own systems?
When I look at like how I'd fine tune my system is don't be so focused on like what the world is doing, like the industry or like people you see on social media. Don't be so focused on like trying to replicate an existing system, because they may have more money than you. They may not have a family they have to provide for. They may have all the unlimited resources to go buy whatever sticks they want or platform. Um, Find what works well for you, from a platform, saddle, climbing sticks, and then from there, define how do you want to get into the woods and get to the tree and start climbing. So for me, I want to carry in the most minimal stuff. I feel like most saddle hunters are like that, but when I say minimal, I'm thinking of I don't want to carry bulky sticks. I don't want to carry long sticks. I don't want to carry sticks that are going to stick out way like from my side really far. I want to have a very compact system. So I used like the Wild Edge steps a decent amount last year and the year before that. I used just a very compact, minimal stick, just because I like not having a lot of bulk on me. So another thing is when I was finding my system that worked well is when I'm walking through the woods, I walk a mile to 3 miles, say that. When I get to my tree, I don't want to unpack everything and then start getting all set up to start climbing a tree. I want to be able to hit the tree and do maybe 1 or 2 things and then start attaching sticks to start climbing. I don't want to have to unpack it all, get all set up. I want my system to be already ready to go. Now, that's not the same for everyone. I have like one of my best friends here where I work at my day job. He'll climb a tree, take everything off, climb a tree, and then he'll climb 1 stick, climb up, hang the next stick, climb back down, grab that stick, climb back up, climb that stick. I mean, and he does it all without a lineman's belt too. So he's a little bit of a monkey in him too. So that's where it gets like everybody has their certain system. Don't be so focused on the gear and I'm going to say this from a guy who's trying to sell you gear, but don't be so focused on having all the gear to get you in a tree to then hunt. Focus on what you have in your possession right now and start just practicing, start trying different things. I mean, play around with your setup, play with having all your sticks on one side or having them both on each side, climb with 2 sticks, climb with 3 sticks, climb with 4 sticks. I don't know. It's really one of those things. I think once you start just using it and practicing instead of just looking at what other people are doing, you start to define like what you want in your setup. So I don't know, at least that's what I've found, at least for me. So that'd be my words of wisdom for the day.
Yeah, no, I think that's very good. It's very smart, and I think it's the biggest thing. Like what we're doing is saddle hunting it's more complicated than walking out to a ladder and climbing up a ladder and sitting on a padded seat. I mean, if you're going out, your public land or land you have permission on, and you're going to a bare tree, and you're putting your climbing system, whether it's like Wild Edge with its sticks, your SRT, DRT, whatever it is, getting up there, putting everything on, hunting, and when you go down at night, taking everything back on or back off. That's a lot more. It's a lot more stuff than just climbing up a ladder and sitting down on a seat. I think obviously the pluses are huge because you have the versatility, but finding what works for you. I think it was John from JX3, and he was saying, like, there's so many options now compared to where there were 5 years ago or even 3 years ago. Just like you said, to find what works for you, find what you have, and just get comfortable with it. Practice with it, get comfortable, find your system, and just enjoy the process. That's what with our events that we're going to be doing is just helping people find what works for them and what suits them, and fits for them. But some of the things, once you find your system, then I think if we focus on the little things that can refine it, like gear hangers, bow hangers, like how do you like having your bow, like what size, and some of those little things we can start refining it. And I think often some of those little things aren't necessarily the bigger cost items. They're the smaller things that can make a bigger improvement. We don't have to go from and buy brand new Shikars, which I mean, they're great sticks, but brand new Shikars, and buy a brand new this and buy the tethered assist system and buy all that. Sometimes just the little things that we can do can make a difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when you learn what system works well for you, you'll learn your different style of hunting. Like, are you somebody who wants to set up really close to bedding? And if you're one of those guys, you're gonna buy a system or set up a system that's a little bit more quiet, a little bit more stealthy. Doesn't need to get as high. It needs to be in a spot where you're just barely getting above where you can start shooting these deer coming out of their beds. Whether you're sitting up in a spot where there's not a lot of cover and you have to get a little bit higher, that's just a different, like if you're in swamp, you can't get really high, and you're gonna have, I don't know, a lot of limbs, and you're not gonna be able to one stick up that tree. I don't know, it really just depends what you have going on around you and your train. So I don't know.
Yep. No, I think it is. It's there's no one size fits all answer, because we all hunt different styles, different properties, different areas of the continent. Really, I mean, Michigan and Ontario are, I mean, we're neighbors, we're close, but the topography can be so different, even in our own states and provinces and across the continent here. I know it's good. I really appreciate your stuff that you have on here. If someone is looking to get something, I know you were just at the archery challenge this last weekend, and if someone comes up to you and they say, I've just started saddle hunting, I have these sticks, just whatever sticks, this saddle, and I find my sticks are banging together and pulling my saddle down when I climb, because that's a common thing. Guys, and how do I get my sticks off of here, and then they clang around. What would you recommend from your products that can help someone like that? Because for me, that's some of the most common questions that I think I've faced chatting with people.
Yeah. So with my product, I would say the biggest thing is so if somebody, like a very common stick is like the Hawk Helium sticks. It's probably the cheapest option out there that most guys are buying. So if somebody's using those sticks, I would direct them to say, hey, check out our Versa hangers, like we talked about. Pair those on your Versa button, and then you can hang them from your side. The other side of it is I also design a product called the Stick Mule System, which you kind of referred to a little bit. These little clips that they just basically snap onto the Hawk Helium sticks, and then you can replace those, take out your suction cup design that the sticks come with, and then you replace it with these clips, and that allows you to snap the sticks together. It's a really quiet system. It locks it together. It doesn't have any wiggle in it like the suction cups. And then also I designed in two 3D printed Versa buttons that are on those clips. So now you can actually hang those from like the back of your saddle or on like a backpack or something. So you don't have to like strap it down and kind of get it kind of caught in there to hopefully have it stay. So those are two products I would say are really, really popular that guys have really found that they really like, because now they don't have to carry the sticks like in their arm while they walk or strap them to a backpack. They could just clip them together with their Stick Mule system, hook them onto Versa hangers on the back of their saddle, and they're off running in the woods. So I'd say those are the two big ones. If they're using like a 1-inch tubing, like a B style stick or a lone wolf stick or XOP, I do have like the Stick Mule system for that. Same kind of concept, goes on the back of your saddle, hooks into a Versa hanger, and off you're running. But then I also have stick clips, very similar to the Stick Mule system, but it has like a little hook at the back of it where you can hook it into MOLLE, and you can just snap your stick into your clip that's on your MOLLE, and then it's not going to wiggle around like we kind of mentioned. A lot of my products try to avoid the wiggle factor or the swinging factor, which, like you said, causes a lot of noise, causes a lot of headache. So those clips just do the exact same thing. You just snap your stick into them, and you're climbing up. You just pop them right off each clip, and you're good to go. So that would be, if somebody is coming to me and said, hey, I got these sticks, I'm trying to find a way to make it so it's a little bit quieter, doesn't have as much movement while you climb. I'd say that's a big one. Probably the most, it's not even, I wouldn't say it's underrated, but one of my favorite products is our platform hangers. And why I like those so much is it's so simple. You basically take your platform and you angle it into the clip or the hook, the hanger. And then when you angle it in, it kind of goes under this little ledge. And then when you drop it, like the gravity pulls it and makes it kind of hang there. It's this ledge is locking it in there. So it's not like allowing it to pop or fall right out as you climb. So then to remove it, all you have to do is twist it or kind of angle it back up and it comes right out the channel. Doesn't have any clips. You can do it one-handed. You don't have to like, cause most of the time guys are using like carabiners or night eyes. You're having to unwind something, unclip something behind you. It's kind of a pain. With this, you just kind of pop it up and then you just pull it right out and then put it right back in. That's probably one of the most, I'm going to say underrated, but it's not even, guys really like it. They've really found that it's one of my best selling products just because it's super simple. And some guys even use it when they walk out in the woods. They just put their saddle on and then they throw one of those hangers on like a combat belt or even on their saddle and they hook their platform in and they're off walking through the woods. So they don't even use a backpack. They just use that and they carry their sticks in their arm or carry their sticks on the back of their saddle or combat belt too. So
That's cool. Yeah, no, that's really good, Austin. If people have questions and see, how do they and want to look at more of your products, how do they get a hold of you? Where do they find your products?
There's so many different ways that guys have reached out to me. Probably the best way to do it is messaging me through our email, through our website. Genesis 3D Printing LLC at gmail.com is when they email me that. They can fill out a form on our website too, and they can kind of include some photos and stuff like that. So that's probably the best way that guys have found to reach out to me. They can do it through Facebook Messenger or Instagram too. I've had guys do that. I've even used an app called Marco Polo. I don't know if you're familiar with that. You guys we may be ahead of you guys on that, like you mentioned. But it's like a video chatting app like FaceTime, but you don't have to watch the videos live. You can like record a video and send it to the person and they can watch it whenever. I've had a lot of guys use that too to kind of show me like if they have issues with their setup or if they have questions and they're looking to solve an issue, or if they have a new product idea that they're like, hey, I could really use this in my system. They kind of send me a video and I can like really understand it. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. We can work on that. So yeah, that's another good way for guys to reach out and kind of communicate and connect with me too. Very
cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, Austin. I appreciate it. It's lots of good stuff. Again, Genesis 3D Printing. Check them out online. And like Austin said, if you have questions, contact them. We'll be having some of their stuff at our events and you can check it out and see how it works. Again, Austin, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
I would.